What's up, YouTube? Nathan here, Midwest Piper 70, and I'm going to do a VR for Big Al the Crusher. Congrats, brother. It's awesome, 300 subs. It's great. I didn't look to see where you're at now. I'm sure you're way above that, but yep, love your vids. Been watching for a while now, and thought I'd take a quick break this morning and do your VR, answer your questions. I'm smoking my Cobb, and I'm smoking the last of my Central Park Stroll by Drew Estates in here. Not a bad tobacco. I'll buy it again probably sometime, but I won't be in a hurry. But it was pretty tasty. Kind of a chocolate vanilla caramel, not overly cased, not real goopy or anything. Pretty decent smoke. Anyway, love your idea here, although it's very hard, especially the album. It's very hard for me because I love music so much. You know, 60s through current, especially. Anyway, I'll start with movies. My first one I'm going to go to. Excuse me, I'm parked kind of by a highway, so I know it's kind of somewhat loud here. But anyway, first movie, 1967. Cool Hand Luke. Paul Newman, George Kennedy, great flick. I thought it was really cool when I was young when I saw this. I think I saw it probably in college for the first time. College was always a good time to go back and look at old, classic movies, and that one was really good. Really enjoy that movie, but I have to give a runner-up to Easy Rider, 1969. Peter Fonda, Dennis Hopper, Jack Nicholson. The soundtrack in that was awesome. Great music from the 60s. Just a good movie. I love Jack Nicholson in that movie. He's pretty funny. In the 70s, I went to 1979, Apocalypse Now, another movie that I watched over and over in college. Love that movie. Martin Sheen, Robert Duvall, Lawrence Fishburne was in there real young. I think he was like 16 or something like that when he made that movie, Lawrence Fishburne. Marlon Brando was in there, Dennis Hopper, Harrison Ford is in there for a cameo. There's a few other people too, but the one-liners in that movie are awesome, especially by Duvall. Charlie Don't Surf, when he's telling that kid to get out there and surf, the California kid, and the bombs are splashing and, going off, and get out there and surf. And what about Charlie? He says, Charlie Don't Surf, get out there, and what's the other one? I love the smell of napalm in the morning. A couple great one-liners in that movie. Let's see. Oh, and then I jump up to Goodfellas, 1990. Love Goodfellas. I actually saw that when I was in college. It came out when I was in college. And great flick. Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci, and others. I especially love that scene where they kill the two people in that Cadillac, and the camera's kind of coming up towards the front of the car, and up and it's playing Layla. Eric Clapton, Derek and the Dominoes, Layla. Freaking awesome. Awesome scene. Martin Scorsese, man. One of the greatest. And I got to throw in from the 80s, Fast Times at Ridgemount High. That was when I was young, high school. That was playing on HBO a lot, and I used to watch it over and over. Fast Times at Ridgemount High, great flick. TV shows. For the 80s, I got to do MASH. It started in late 70s, I think 78, I'm guessing. I can't remember exactly when, maybe a little bit earlier. Anyway, and I know it ran through the 80s. Love MASH, but I also got to throw some kudos in there for Cheers. I love Cheers as well. And then the 90s, I was a Seinfeld freak. I love Seinfeld. And then I jumped to current, The Big Bang Theory. I think that's hilarious. I love watching that. With a big honorable mention for Game of Thrones. I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, so can't just stick to three. I just can't help it. So those are my TV shows. And now albums, which is extremely hard for me again. I kind of got to go off of where I was at when I heard the albums, just how they affected me. But I have to say first, and I didn't hear this album till later. I heard a couple songs off of it. I mentioned Layla, but Derek and the Dominoes, Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs. What a freaking awesome album. Dwayne Allman plays slide on that, on half of the album, or a little more than half. I highly recommend getting that album if you don't have it. There's more than Layla on that album. I mean, there's a bunch of great tunes on there. Key to the Highway, a bunch of great tunes. So Derek and the Dominoes. And then I jumped to the 80s, which is when I was a teenager, you know. Graduated high school in 1989, so, I mean, the 80s were my year, really. And I wasn't into any of the blues back then. I was into metal or rock, you know. So, get this lit before I start on the 80s, because it's a long one.
Operation Tech Job number 32204, electrical and instrument job number 32341, and maintenance job number 32221.
Oh, the 80s. Okay. Master of Puppets gets #1 because that was the first Metallica album I bought. I was in the Columbia House Tape Club, and I saw that on there. I'm like, Master of Puppets, I'll try that. And so I did. And we were in a small town. I mean, 2,100 people. Radio station was limited. It was that, and a buddy of mine ordered Guns N' Roses, Appetite, and when we got them in the mail about the same time, and we listened to them together, and that was it, man. All of my high school career, I love those two albums. But I gotta say Master, just because that was the first one I listened to. Got to give a kudos or what I want to say, a kudos or a runner-up, I should say, a runner-up to, sorry, but Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and Justice. They all get, I mean, I love Metallica, and my God, once I discovered Master, went back and got Kill 'Em All, went back and got Ride the Lightning, and then shortly after that, a year or two after Master came out, then, and then that was my senior year, I think it was, when And Justice came out, and oh my God, you know, One, and the video play on that, love Metallica. And of course I have to give another runner-up to Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. So that's my 80s, sorry, but I couldn't just pick one. If I had to, I'll say Master, just because, again, that was the first Metallica I ever heard. So. And then, for the last album, I want to jump up to current. A couple years ago, the Foo Fighters put out Wasting Light. To me, that was probably one of the best solid albums put out in the at least last 5 years, if not more. If you listen to that album through and through, there's hardly anything on there that you won't listen to. There might be one song you're like, but I mean, that is a solid album. They put it together. All 5 guys got together in their garage. I think it's 5 people. I think it is. Anyway, Pat Smear's on guitar. They have 3 guitarists, including Dave. Put it together in their garage, wrote it all themselves. I mean, great musicianship, great songwriting, great lyrics, the whole thing. That year at the awards, they won everything except for best album or best performer. I think it was best album. Got beat out by Adele. And don't get me wrong, I love Adele, got a great voice, but how many songs did she write? Did she sit down and write every song? I don't know. You know, I don't think so. These guys really put together a solid-ass album with Wasting Light. I thought that was a great album. And, of course, I have to do a runner-up. My runner-up is Slash. Slash and the Conspirators featuring Myles Kennedy, Apocalyptic Love. Very strong, solid album. Myles Kennedy is one of the great top 3 vocalists right now. I mean, he is one of the best. Love his work both with them and Alter Bridge. Just does great work. So I think that's it. So, yep. So those are all my answers to your questions. Great idea. Makes you think and makes you. What I love about especially music is it brings back memories. You know, memories from high school or whatnot. So I love going through this stuff. So anyway, congrats on the subs. It's awesome. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you later.